Dylan.
Grotowski.
I'm Blair.
Alright, and then a quick fact, this is the Roman symbol of Jupiter. So whenever they're talking about it, that's the little symbol that they would use. Keep going, it has animations. This is what Jupiter looks like. You can tell from the composition that it has a whole bunch of different substances making it up. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of clouds. And this red spot right here is a storm that's actually been going on for the past 300 years. So that's super cool. We'll talk about that later. So once again, Jupiter is so far out that it's super, super cold there. So everything there is frozen. So predominantly it's made of just visible layers of frozen gas. So that's super cool. It also has multiple crater marks from being hit by just space materials like meteoroids, just extra stuff out there. Okay, hit it again. And then this is Jupiter right here. Again. So in comparison to Earth, Jupiter takes 10 to 12 years just for one revolution. So even though it's the largest planet, it does have the fastest rotation. So a quick reminder, rotation is when the planet spins. Revolution is when it goes around the sun. So the days are only 9 hours and 56 minutes. This also goes for nighttime. The nights are only 9 hours and 56 minutes. So that's super cool. It's also the largest planet in our solar system. It has 2.5 times the mass of all of the other planets combined. So basically, it's super ginormous, and you can fit all the planets into Jupiter, which is super cool, because it's big. And if you guys look here, we put a diagram that shows all the different axes of the planets. As you can see, Jupiter has a 30% axis tilt, that's the word. Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter are really the only planets that are basically upright. All these other planets are tilted, and that's what causes the seasons. And because Jupiter's not tilted, it has the same weather throughout the entire planet, or year. Yes?
Why is it called Jupiter?
We will talk about that later, but it has to do with the Roman gods and all that cool stuff.
Jupiter's revolution period, the length of year in Earth years, is 11.86. Obliquely tilt of axis degrees is 3.08. Orbit inclination, thank you, degrees is 1.3. Orbit eccentricity deviation from circular is 0.048. Rotation period, length of a day in Earth's days, 0.41. 9.8 Earth hours.
Yeah, so that's super cool. It's really big. This is fast.
As you know, Jupiter has a large mass. Jupiter is over 10 times bigger than Earth. It has an exact circumference of 272,946 miles.
That's really big.
And a mass of 1,898 x 10 to the 27th power kilograms. And a weight of 4,084 x 10 power 27 kilograms.
You missed one, I believe.
The radius. And a radius of 43,441 miles.
A quick picture to explain this. These little dots are just a whole bunch of Earths. So all of these Earths could fit into one Jupiter, because that's how big it is. So, super cool.
Jupiter's average density is 1.33 g-centimeters third. 3? I'm there. Surprisingly, this amount of density is less than 1/3 of Earth's density. This is because Jupiter is a very gaseous planet.
And once again, like we already elaborated on, Jupiter is super cold, so it's frozen. What it's made of is a whole bunch of frozen gases. So that's where this comes from. Awesome. So Jupiter's atmosphere, because it's a larger planet, it has a bigger atmosphere, meaning it's got more gravity, all that scientific stuff. So this is just a fun little cartoon. Astronomers believed in the 16th century, when they originally discovered Jupiter, they saw a meteor that was coming for them. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then it disappeared days later. And they couldn't figure out why it did. So going back, doing math, they were able, a couple hundred years later, to figure out that because Jupiter is bigger, it does have a bigger mass, it does have a bigger gravity, therefore the meteor that was coming to hit Earth actually hit Jupiter. So it's believed that this was one of those Grecian legends, one of the Roman legends, that Jupiter was cursed, and that's another reason why they named it Jupiter. So that's just a fun fact. But due to the gravitational pull, once again, a whole bunch of asteroids and debris tends to hit Jupiter. The debris actually goes into the rings, and when you guys look at pictures of Jupiter, you don't usually see that Jupiter has rings. However, it does. The rings are usually just made of dust, rocks, all that stuff. They're not frozen like Saturn's is, so that's why they're not prominently visible. Jupiter's atmosphere is made mostly of molecular hydrogen, however a small portion is made of methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, and water. So once again, it's made of a whole bunch of frozen gases. And in the composition, you can see that it has a whole bunch of different layers. So that's super cool. Here is a diagram that shows what all the other planets are made of. So they do think that it's pretty weird that Venus has a lot of rock, a lot of frozen ice in it, because not a lot of the other planets do. So that's a cool little fact. It also has the largest atmosphere in the solar system, like previously said. This right here is just a picture showing you guys Jupiter's rings. This was taken with an ultraviolet camera, so that's why it's visible. This is just a super cool Photoshopped picture. It's not what it really looks like. Jupiter, these are the four main moons that are thought of when we associate moons with Jupiter. Right here, there's 7 main rings, and as you can see right here, it lays them out. And then go ahead and just take a minute to look at the rings and how cool they are.
Wow.
Okay,
MJ.
go ahead. Perfect. So once again, it does have a strong gravitational pull. All that extra debris and just extra dust, rock, all that stuff comes and gets trapped in a circular motion, and then that's what causes the rings. So that's super cool. And then once again, Saturn's rings are free-floating rocks, ice, dust. They're not frozen. Saturn's rings are frozen, so that's why they're predominantly more visible whenever you take pictures of Saturn. However, this is not visible because it's not frozen. Yes?
So how come if it has a strong gravitational pull, the debris doesn't just hit the planet?
I wondered that too. I forget how it works, but the debris that's brought towards Jupiter is actually it's from the other planets and just other space. It comes together and it doesn't hit Jupiter because of the atmosphere surrounding the actual planet. So this is actually right outside the atmosphere. So that's why there is a debate whether Jupiter actually does have rings. As of right now, I believe scientists have thought that it has rings. So, yeah, that was a really long kind of larger material. And then the outer layers are just more condensed dust, rocks, the smaller particles, where it's towards the center, it's larger rocks. So that kind of can go towards our question, Stankovich. The innermost ring is called halo, so that's super cool. They named it that because it's the brightest. And when you see like pictures of angels and drawings, they have a halo and super bright, so that's cool. The outer two rings are called the gossamer rings, and then those are the rings that are made of the dust. The ring system is Jupiter. It's called the Jovian ring system. Yeah. And then how Jupiter got its name. The ancient Romans, or their ancestors, gave Jupiter its name. It was named because the Roman god Jupiter, who was identified with the Romans, with the Greek god Zeus. So basically, in Greek mythology, the king above all kings, that guy, his name was Zeus. That goes the same for the Roman gods. Jupiter was the king of all the other ones, and since he was really big, they decided, hey, Jupiter's super big, that seems like a fitting name. So at the time, they believed that that was a good name for Jupiter. Since he was super big, they gave Jupiter a big name. Oh, it was a tribute to their main god. Who discovered Jupiter? Galileo was an astronomer who honestly studied Jupiter very intently, but he wasn't the main man to have discovered it. Galileo did discover, however, the four main moons of Jupiter. The man who actually is credited with observing Jupiter is Giovanni da Cassini. That's a cool name. He was a Frenchman who was born June 8, 1625. His contribution to astronomy was discovering that Jupiter had a giant red spot on the side. He was like, yo, what's that? Because no one knew. Bertowski, do you want to talk about this slide?
Because both planets travel in an elliptical path around the sun, Jupiter's distance from Earth is constantly changing. When the two planets are at their closest point, the distance to Jupiter is only 365 million miles, or 588 million kilometers.
That's big. Perfect. So is it possible to live on Jupiter? Do you want to do this one too?
Living the surface of Jupiter itself would be difficult, but maybe not impossible. The gas giant has a small rock core with a mass of 10 times less than Earth's, but it's surrounded by dense liquid hydrogen extending out to 90% of Jupiter's diameter.
So once again, that's one of the gases that makes up Jupiter. So here we go. We're going to start talking about the storm that's on Jupiter's side. Can anyone remember who discovered it?
Some French guy.
French guy born in
Close. Giovanni Cassini.
1625.
Good. So these are just fun pictures that show you what it looks like. It's actually the size of Earth. So we thought this would be a funny animation talking about how big the storm is since it's the size of Earth. Go ahead and show the next one. And once again, it's a giant spinning storm that's inside Jupiter's atmosphere. It's actually been happening for the past 300 years. What makes it go on, scientists don't know yet. There hasn't been a whole bunch of exploration into the storm on Jupiter. However, it's twice the size of Earth, so that's super cool. The winds inside the storm reach about 270 miles per hour. It's been seen on Jupiter ever since people started looking through their telescope 400 years ago. how many moons does Jupiter have? Every time that scientists look at Jupiter, they're starting to find different moons, and this is because of that large gravitational pull. So they don't know the exact amount, however they say that at least there is 67. So as a known fact, it's 67 moons. The moons are also made of frozen ice, gas, and rock. There's 4 different moons on Jupiter that were discovered by Galileo. They're called Europa, Io, Ganymede, and Castelo. One of the Jupiter's moons was named for actually looking as if it was on fire. It's covered in active volcanoes, so whenever it explodes, they used to think that was Jupiter having solar flares. It was actually just one of the moons, so that was super cool. It's being debated whether this moon, Io, should be called a star or it should be called a moon because of all the active volcanoes. And then this is just a fun little song that we found and we thought you guys would enjoy.
Are you guys gonna sing it?
It would probably be better for your ears if I didn't sing, but this is a Jupiter.